Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Introduction to Feminist Post-Structuralism in Discourse Analysis. The amalgamation of feminist theory and post-structuralism within discourse analysis heralds a critical paradigm shift, reframing our understanding of power, identity, and the pivotal role of language in shaping societal constructs. Feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis scrutinizes the intricate ways through which gendered power dynamics and identities are both forged and contested through discursive practices. By interrogating the normative underpinnings of gender and challenging the conventional binaries that have historically dominated gender discourse, this framework illuminates the fluid and constructed nature of gender identities. This introduction sets the stage for a deeper exploration of the critical intersections between feminist and post-structuralist theories, emphasizing the transformative potential of language in deconstructing and reconstructing gendered realities. 1. Overview and definitions. Feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis represents a critical intersection of theories that challenge conventional understandings of power, identity, and language. This approach combines the insights of feminist theory and post-structuralism to examine how discourses shape and are shaped by gendered power relations and identities. By focusing on the importance of language in constructing social realities and gender identities, feminist post-structuralism offers nuanced analyses of the ways in which gender is both produced and contested within various discursive practices. 1. Defining feminist post-structuralism and discourse analysis. Feminist post-structuralism. This theoretical framework merges feminist perspectives with post-structuralist theory, emphasizing the fluidity and constructed nature of gender identities. It challenges the binary and essentialist notions of gender, highlighting instead how gender is performed and constituted through discourse. Feminist post-structuralism scrutinizes the power dynamics embedded in language, questioning how discourses serve to maintain or disrupt patriarchal power structures. Discourse analysis. In the context of feminist post-structuralism, discourse analysis is the methodological tool used to examine the ways in which language constructs, perpetuates, and challenges gendered identities and power relations. It involves a critical analysis of textual and communicative practices across various social contexts, from media and literature to everyday conversations and institutional communications. 2. The importance of language in constructing social realities and gender identities. Language as a social practice. Feminist post-structuralist discourse analysis views language not merely as a medium for communication but as a social practice that plays a crucial role in constructing and negotiating social realities. It acknowledges that language carries power, capable of both reflecting and shaping societal norms, values, and hierarchies. Constructing gender identities. Through this lens, gender identity is understood as constructed and reconstructed through discursive practices. Language does not simply describe gender, it actively participates in its construction. This perspective allows for an exploration of how various discourses, be it in advertising, legal texts, educational materials, or social media, contribute to the shaping of gender norms and expectations. Challenging binary views. One of the key contributions of feminist post-structuralism is its challenge to binary and fixed categories of gender. By analyzing how discourses enforce or disrupt these binaries, feminist post-structuralist discourse analysis reveals the fluidity of gender and opens up spaces for more inclusive and nuanced understandings of identity. Feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis provides a powerful framework for examining how gendered power relations and identities are discursively constructed and contested. It underscores the pivotal role of language in both maintaining societal structures and offering avenues for resistance and change. Through its critical engagement with language and power, feminist post-structuralist discourse analysis not only deepens our understanding of gender as a social construct but also highlights the potential for transformative social change by reimagining gender identities and relations. 2. Historical context. Feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis emerges from a rich historical tapestry of feminist thought, evolving through various phases of feminist theory before integrating with post-structuralist insights. This evolution reflects a growing complexity in understanding gender, power, and language, leading to nuanced approaches to analyzing discourse within feminist research. 1. The evolution of feminist theories leading to post-structuralism. First-wave feminism. Initially focused on legal inequalities and suffrage, first-wave feminism laid the groundwork for subsequent feminist critiques by challenging the legal and institutional barriers to women's equality. While not directly engaged with discourse analysis, this wave established a foundation for questioning gendered power structures. Second-wave feminism. Marked by the slogan, "The personal is political," second-wave feminism in the 1960s and 1970s expanded the scope of feminist inquiry to include cultural and social dimensions of gender inequality, such as family roles, sexuality, and workplace rights. This period saw the burgeoning of feminist theories that scrutinized the cultural and social construction of gender, setting the stage for more critical engagements with language and discourse. The emergence of post-structuralist feminism. Building on the insights of second-wave feminism, post-structuralist feminist theory emerged in the late 20th century, influenced by broader post-structuralist critiques of language, power, and subjectivity. Scholars like Judith Butler, Gayatri Chakravorty-Spivak, and Julia Kristeva began to question the fixed and essentialist notions of gender, arguing instead for its fluidity and performativity, deeply entwined with discursive practices. 2. Key milestones in the development of discourse analysis within feminist research. Integrating language and gender. A significant milestone was the recognition of language not just as a medium of communication but as a central mechanism through which gender is constituted and negotiated. The work of scholars such as Dale Spender and Deborah Cameron highlighted how language reinforces gender biases and constructs gendered realities. Performative turn. Judith Butler's concept of gender performativity marked a pivotal shift in feminist theory, emphasizing that gender is not a fixed attribute but is continuously produced and reproduced through discursive practices. This idea significantly influenced feminist discourse analysis by focusing on how gender identities are performed and contested in various texts and interactions. Intersectionality in discourse. The incorporation of intersectionality, a concept coined by Kimberlé Crenshaw, into feminist discourse analysis expanded the focus to include not only gender but also the interplay of race, class, sexuality, and other axes of identity. This approach highlighted the multiplicity of experiences and the complexity of discourses shaping identity and power relations. Global and post-colonial perspectives. The inclusion of global and post-colonial perspectives in feminist discourse analysis broadened the understanding of how colonial legacies and global power dynamics influence gender discourses, bringing attention to the voices and experiences of women from formerly colonized societies and challenging Western-centric feminist narratives. The historical evolution of feminist theories towards post-structuralism and the key milestones in the development of discourse analysis within feminist research reflect a deepening and broadening of feminist inquiry. By critically engaging with language and power, feminist post-structuralist discourse analysis offers profound insights into the construction and contestation of gender identities and relations, underscoring the potential for transformative social change through the reimagining of discourse. 3. Key principles. Feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis is grounded in several key principles that underpin its critical approach to examining gender, power, and discourse. Central to this framework is the intricate relationship between power, knowledge, and discourse, alongside a nuanced understanding of gender as a social construct deeply influenced by discursive practices. These principles not only challenge traditional notions of gender and identity but also offer insights into the ways language shapes and is shaped by social hierarchies and power dynamics. 1. The relationship between power, knowledge, and discourse. Power and discourse. Drawing on Foucault's insights, feminist post-structuralism posits that power is not merely repressive but also productive, operating through discourse to shape what can be known, said, and thought. Discourse, in this view, is a means through which power relations are enacted and negotiated, with language playing a key role in constructing social realities and hierarchies. Knowledge is situated. Knowledge is not universal or objective but is situated and constructed through specific discursive practices. This perspective challenges the traditional hierarchies of knowledge that privilege certain voices and perspectives over others, often marginalizing those of women and other oppressed groups. Feminist post-structuralism argues that knowledge is inherently tied to power dynamics, with discourses serving both to perpetuate and challenge these dynamics. 2. Understanding gender as a social construct influenced by discourse. Gender performativity. Judith Butler's concept of performativity is pivotal, suggesting that gender is not an innate quality but an identity repeatedly constituted through discursive acts. Gender identities are thus seen as performative, produced, and reinforced through language and other social practices. Discursive construction of gender. Feminist post-structuralism emphasizes that gender is constructed through discourse, which includes not only spoken and written language but also cultural norms, media representations, and institutional policies. This construction is fluid and contingent, varying across different contexts and cultures, and subject to change over time. Challenging binary gender norms. This framework critically examines the discursive practices that sustain binary views of gender, advocating for a more inclusive understanding that recognizes a plurality of gender identities and expressions. By analyzing how gender binaries are produced and maintained through discourse, feminist post-structuralism seeks to deconstruct these binaries and highlight the diversity of gender experiences. The key principles of feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis: understanding the interplay between power, knowledge, and discourse, and recognizing gender as a socially constructed identity shaped by discursive practices, offer powerful tools for analyzing how gender is constructed, challenged, and renegotiated in society. By focusing on the performative and constructed nature of gender, and the central role of discourse in sustaining or subverting power relations, feminist post-structuralism provides critical insights into the dynamics of gender and power, advocating for more equitable and inclusive understandings of identity and social relations. Conclusion. Feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis offers a profound lens through which the nuanced construction and contestation of gendered identities and power relations are examined. By integrating the critical perspectives of feminist theory with the insights of post-structuralism, this approach illuminates the central role of discourse in shaping social realities and identities. Through its challenge to binary gender norms and its emphasis on the performative nature of gender, feminist post-structuralism not only critiques the existing power dynamics but also champions the possibility of transformative change. This discourse analysis underscores the fluidity of gender, advocating for a more inclusive and pluralistic understanding of identity. As it navigates through historical contexts, key principles, and the importance of language in constructing gender, this framework stands as a testament to the enduring power of discourse in challenging and reshaping societal norms, offering pathways towards more equitable and diverse expressions of identity. Frequently asked questions. What is feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis? It's a critical framework that merges feminist theory with post-structuralist insights to examine how gendered power dynamics and identities are constructed and contested through language and discourse. How does this approach view language and discourse? Language is seen not merely as a tool for communication but as a social practice that constructs and negotiates social realities, including gender identities. Discourse is a means through which power relations are enacted and can both maintain and challenge societal norms. What is the significance of gender performativity in this framework? Gender performativity, a concept introduced by Judith Butler, suggests that gender is not an innate attribute but is continuously enacted through discursive practices. This view challenges fixed gender categories and highlights the constructed nature of gender identities. How does feminist post-structuralism challenge traditional notions of gender? By critiquing binary and essentialist views of gender, it emphasizes the fluidity and diversity of gender identities. This approach advocates for a more nuanced understanding of gender that accounts for its construction through various discursive practices. What are some key principles of feminist post-structuralism in discourse analysis? Key principles include the interconnectedness of power, knowledge, and discourse, the construction of gender identities through discourse, and the challenge to binary gender norms. These principles guide the analysis of how discourses shape gendered realities. How does this approach address the relationship between power, knowledge, and discourse? It draws on Foucault's ideas that power is both repressive and productive, functioning through discourse to shape societal norms and knowledge. Discourses are seen as vehicles through which power dynamics are both perpetuated and resisted. In what ways does feminist post-structuralism impact the understanding of gender in society? It provides a critical lens for examining the ways gender norms are reinforced or contested, offering insights into the potential for societal change. By highlighting the constructed nature of gender, it opens up possibilities for more inclusive gender expressions and identities. How does the historical evolution of feminist theories contribute to post-structuralism? The evolution from first-wave to second-wave feminism, and the eventual emergence of post-structuralist feminism, reflects a deepening understanding of gender as a complex and socially constructed concept. This progression has led to more sophisticated analyses of gender and power in discourse. Why is the critique of binary gender norms important in this framework? Critiquing binary norms reveals the limitations of traditional gender categories and the ways they exclude or marginalize non-binary and diverse gender identities. It advocates for a recognition of gender's fluidity and the multiplicity of gender experiences. What role does intersectionality play in feminist post-structuralist discourse analysis? Intersectionality highlights the interplay between gender and other social categorizations, such as race, class, and sexuality. It enriches the analysis by acknowledging the complex and varied experiences of individuals navigating multiple axes of identity and oppression.